I was on a proton pump inhibitor, also known as a PPI, called omeprazole for over a year. And every time I tried to come off of it, I would feel this awful acid rebound that made me feel like I would be on it forever and I would get right back on. But today, I'm totally off of it. I don't take any acid suppression. I haven't for years, and I want to walk you through exactly how I did it. So let me take you back. When I was diagnosed with GERD, my doctor handed me a PPI. And honestly, it helped a little bit. It helped with the heartburn, the chest pain. I could eat some of my favorite foods again, and I just kept living my life normally. But after a few months, the symptoms started to come creeping back. And I started to research PPI medications a little bit more. And it turns out that PPIs are essentially a coin flip. There is a 50% chance that it will work for people with GERD, and there's an even lower chance for those with people with LPR, which is a type of reflux, often called silent reflux. PPIs for people with LPR perform no better than placebo in many randomized controlled trials. So when I realized that PPIs don't actually stop reflux, they just reduce the acidity of it, I realized I wasn't addressing the root cause of my reflux. And I also didn't want the long-term side effects. So I tried to come off of it, just cold turkey. And every time I did that, I would have terrible acid rebound like 5 days later. The symptoms I had during the rebound were even worse than the symptoms I had that brought me to the doctor, and it made me feel like something was totally wrong with me. I thought that maybe my reflux had gotten worse while I was on the medication. And I know so many of you watching this video right now are in the same exact place as me, struggling with reflux, wanting to get off of this PPI, but not knowing how to do it. Or maybe you've tried, but every time you try, it feels impossible. And I want you to know that experience is not in your head. There is a real physiological reason why your symptoms come back even worse when you try to come off of these types of medications. And once you understand it and what to do about it, the path becomes much more clear. So here is what's happening. PPIs work by reducing the acid production in your stomach, which means that when you reflux, it's not as acidic and you don't feel it as much. It also could mean that when you eat acidic foods, they don't bother you as much. When your stomach cells sense that acid production is being suppressed, they actually create more of these acid-producing pumps in your stomach lining. Your stomach essentially upregulates the amount of pumps to compensate for this PPI shutdown. So when you stop the PPI, you have all of these extra pumps, and those pumps start to turn back on to secrete acid every time you eat. So you get this surge of acid rebound that's actually greater than you had before the medication. A landmark study by Reimer and colleagues published in Gastroenterology in 2009 demonstrated that in healthy volunteers, people who had no reflux symptoms before the study, after 8 weeks of being on a PPI, followed by discontinuation, they actually developed acid regurgitation and dyspepsia. These are symptoms that didn't exist before starting the medication. So the takeaway here is that when your reflux feels worse by coming off the PPI, your condition didn't get worse. It's your body reacting to this sudden removal of acid suppression. And it can be temporary if you approach it correctly. Now, I want to be extremely clear. I am not anti-PPI. They have their time and place, and I did use them in my journey with erosive GERD. They can be really useful in scenarios of ulcers or Barrett's esophagus, and in some circumstances, they might be necessary long-term. They can provide this temporary relief so tissue can heal, but PPIs don't fix the underlying problem of why reflux is happening in the first place, and they are way overprescribed. They are prescribed to people who don't even have reflux symptoms, and they actually are one of the most prescribed medications in the US. PPIs reduce acid. They don't address why your nervous system is in overdrive, or why your LES isn't closing, or why your motility is sluggish, or why stress is amplifying your symptoms. So for a lot of people, PPIs become this band-aid that might help you feel better in the short term, but isn't really addressing the long-term problem, or they eventually stop working. And this is not a failure on your part. This is a gap in the system and an outdated medical system when it comes to caring for reflux. If this is resonating with you and you are wanting to take control of your reflux and eventually get off PPIs, hit subscribe. I share strategies like this and evidence-based reflux support every single week, and I want to make sure that you don't miss what's coming next. So let me walk you through how the process looked for me and what I think is the best approach based on the research. Before we dive in though, do not change your medication without first confirming with your doctor. This is not medical advice, this is just my story, so please do not change any regimens without consulting your physician. Step 1, and this is the most important step, I did not stop cold turkey. This is the single biggest mistake that I made initially when I was trying to wean off PPIs, and it is why most attempts fail. A Cochrane review by Bogason and colleagues found that 14 to 64% of patients can successfully discontinue their PPIs, but the approach matters. They looked at using a step-down approach to gradually taper off the PPI, and this is often more successful. What I did was a gradual taper. First, talking to my doctor, and he was able to prescribe a 10 milligram omeprazole so that I could gradually lower my dose. Omeprazole is one of the only PPIs that actually come in a 10 milligram dose, so this was very lucky that I was able to gradually decrease my dose, stepping down to a 10 milligram lower dose, staying there for a few weeks, giving my body time to adjust to this lower dose, and then gradually another 10 milligram down, staying there for 2 to 3 weeks, letting my body find equilibrium, letting my symptoms regulate before further stepping down. Just moving one dose at a time is what I did, and I kept my nighttime dose a little bit higher and first decreased my morning dose because my symptoms were often worse in the evening. This gives your body time to recalibrate and prevents that dramatic acid resurgence. Step 2, I used bridge therapies to help this process during the taper and to help me manage symptoms with less acid suppression. The biggest support in a PPI weaning process that I wish I had during my journey is alginate therapy. Alginate therapy is simply taking an algae supplement, and it creates this little gel raft at the top of the stomach, at the base of the esophagus, to protect you from contents moving up into the esophagus. This is incredibly helpful, and I didn't know about alginates. My GI doctor did not tell me about alginates when I was going through this. It's becoming more popular in the United States. They have been used in the UK for decades. My favorite alginate brand is Reflux Raft because it has the best ingredients. Reflux Raft also has a little bit of DGL, and they have a berry flavor that tastes really good compared to other alginates like Gaviscon Advanced, which is the UK version that doesn't taste as good and has some additives that I wouldn't really love to use long term. So in my practice, we recommend Reflux Raft. A systematic review and meta-analysis by Lyman and colleagues confirmed that alginate-based formulations were significantly superior to placebo and antacids for GERD relief. Because I personally didn't know about alginates when I was weaning off of my PPI, I used other supports such as mucilaginous herbs like slippery elm and DGL, which help to create a thicker mucus lining on your esophagus and your stomach lining to protect from acid. I found these personally super helpful, and I think they were key in allowing me to come off of the medication. I also used things like zinc carnosine to support tissue healing throughout this process, and these are some of the same ingredients that I formulated my custom supplement Sequoia Soothe with. Sequoia Soothe did sell out really fast, so the link is attached to this video if you want to learn more about it. Hopefully it's in stock when you see this video. Mucilaginous herbs are not going to block reflux like alginates will, but having this soothing support for your esophagus and this extra protection is super helpful when it comes to mitigating irritation and preventing burning. So I really like using 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of slippery elm a day in between meals. I like using alginates after meals. This is a great strategy. Supplementation is one of the most requested topics inside of the Reflux Relief Masterclass, and that is where I walk you through exactly how to customize your supplement protocol to your unique symptoms and goals. Inside the Reflux Relief Masterclass, we go deep on reflux nutrition, nervous system support, vagus nerve optimization, and LAS barrier function so that you don't have to rely on long-term acid suppression. The link for the masterclass is in the description of this video. Step 3, and this is the part that most people miss entirely. Before and throughout my PPI weaning process, I started addressing the actual root contributors of my reflux problem. One of the biggest root contributors of reflux is poor barrier function, or a lower esophageal sphincter that doesn't keep food contents where it belongs. So for me and a lot of my clients, this means diaphragmatic breathing after meals. Your diaphragm is a key component of your lower esophageal junction. So using diaphragmatic breathing, or what I call the LES lock method, 5 to 10 diaphragmatic breaths after a meal can help to strengthen and tone the lower esophageal sphincter. Also, addressing nervous system dysregulation. Chronic stress is a big driver of reflux and poor vagal tone, which also impacts your LES. So addressing this is key. And lastly, your nutrition does matter. The way that you design and consume your meals makes a massive difference. So smaller, more frequent meals, making sure these are balanced with protein, complex carbohydrate, and a plant is key for your microbiome, but also can really help to regulate digestion. Eating slower, chewing well, really important mealtime mindfulness tools. A study by Zalvin and colleagues published in JAMA Otolaryngology in 2017 compared a Mediterranean-style diet plus alkaline water to PPI therapy in patients with laryngopharyngeal reflux, or LPR. What they found is that the diet group in the Mediterranean diet and also consuming alkaline water had comparable results, and in some cases, better results than the PPI group. Over 62% of the diet group achieved meaningful symptom improvement. This study changed how I thought about nutrition. It told me that the right nutrition and lifestyle approaches aren't just a nice to have when it comes to reflux control. For some people, especially those with LPR, sometimes it is the primary intervention that helps them get relief. I want to tell you what life looks like on the other side, because I know when you're in the thick of it, it's really hard to imagine. Today, I eat out at restaurants. I travel without packing a bag of safe foods. I eat foods daily that I used to be terrified of. I wake up without the burning in my chest. Not to say I'll never get reflux again, because that's not realistic. Occasional reflux is totally normal, but today my GERD is in remission. Not because I found a magic fix, but because I stopped treating the symptoms and started supporting the systems that were actually struggling. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because I remember being in the exact position that you are now. Scared to eat, scared to stop medications, scared of the future, and wondering if this is just the way life is going to be. It doesn't have to be. There is a path forward, and you deserve support that actually explains the why and the how. If you want the full picture of what I did to get here, my entire GERD journey, definitely check out this video. It's my complete guide to how I beat acid reflux. Everything I wish I had known from day one. I'll see you there.